This week on Oregon Art Beat, Michael Allen Harrison shows off his new state-of-the-art recording studio in the Pearl District. Then meet a modern-day hobo whose life is his art. From a hobbit hole in the ground, Dan Price sketches and writes a journal of his adventures. And see how a Coos Bay couple's idea to help kids learn music after school really took off. And these students are learning a lot more than music.
That's tonight at 8 here on OPB.
This week on Oregon Field Guide, we'll show you what has to be one of the most unusual and painful forms of outdoor recreation we've ever seen. Then we head underwater for a fascinating look at the creatures that cling to life in the treacherous tide pools along the Oregon coast. And we'll end up in a remote section of Oregon and join some neighborly ranchers pitching in on Branding Day, tonight at 8:30.
If you have a toy store that's appealing to children and to their parents, what better place to reach them than through OPB? When I've been on the floor of the toy store, I have overheard children say to their parents, "Mommy, Mommy, this is the toy store we saw on OPB." We sponsor a program and have for many years on OPB because of all the good things that OPB brings to Portland and to Oregon.
This is the first line of history, are the correspondents and reporters.
This is a story about a whim. This is all about a guy just deciding, I want to get in the car and get on the road.
He took out his wallet, put 50 bucks on the table and said, I bet I can drive across it.
And there was no turning back after that.
In 1903, Horatio Nelson Jackson set out from San Francisco in a race to become the first person to drive a car across the country.
In 1903, traveling cross-country by automobile, I don't think today we can conceive of just how much difficulty that presented.
I think that he had no idea how hard it would be.
Once he had the focus of accomplishing this dream, that was what drove him.
When this horseless carriage comes into town, things are not going to be the same ever again. A whole new era has arrived.
Ken Burns presents Horatio's Drive, America's first road trip.
There is something that is inside of human beings that wants to reach for the skies.
They were built for a city, but they stood for a nation.
This was the age when we believed that bigger and bigger doses of American power and might were gonna solve everything wrong with the world.
Until one day, that changed both forever.
I think it's precisely like death. I mean, death of someone you know or someone you love, and then they were gone. I mean, how can it be that something that extreme can happen so quickly and so irreversibly?
As important as the World Trade Center was for those 30 years that it existed, in some ways, it's more important to history now that it's gone.
American Experience presents the final chapter of Rick Burns' acclaimed series, New York, a documentary film.
He believed in his destiny to such an incredible degree. He believes he's here for some great purpose.
He inspired Britain in its finest hour. A life immersed in war and politics prepared him for the supreme challenge he was destined to face.
He one day was walking with a friend of his, and he just turned and said, "One day I'll be Prime Minister."
It's the story of the man behind the legend, from those who knew him best, Churchill. In Arabia, nearly a century ago, a war began that changed history, and an Englishman arrived who became legendary.
Lawrence was remarkable, a military leader. He had that presence. You feel that it touched if not by the divine, by some special quality.
He was a rebel. He played the system, he understood the system, and he got away with things that normal individuals just wouldn't get away with.
This is the true story of the man behind the myth, Lawrence of Arabia. They were not seeking any special recognition.
I received the Medal of Honor for the same reason most everybody does, and that's trying to rescue somebody.
I had shot everyone I could find. I was, they had me, and I was protecting the patient and protecting myself.
They were just doing what they thought was right.
You go to war for your country because your country sends you. But when it comes right down to it, when you make sacrifices, you make them for the one, your buddy on the left and your buddy on the right, because they're doing the same for you.
For their courageous actions, they were honored for service above and beyond the call of duty.
Freedom is not free. It's a gift. It has to be nurtured. We have to earn it, and we have to earn it every day.
American Valor, the story of the Congressional Medal of Honor.
They came in search of gold, or land, or freedom. And they found a place beyond their dreams, and a people beyond their imagination.
And so we have a constant meeting in the West, a constant migration and meeting of groups. And the real story, I think, lies in how those groups affect each other.
A collision of cultures shapes the story of a young nation discovering itself.
It may be that the real story of the American West is a story of spirit, the challenge to live and love with a broken heart.
The West, on Ken Burns' American Stories. Across America, something is causing a stir.
Wow, that really takes my breath away.
Some people are intrigued.
Where did you get this? These are the best.
When I saw this, my eyes rolled around.
Others ecstatic.
We're so happy that you're here.
That is wonderful. That's great. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you.
But most are just plain skeptical.
Unbelievable. I cannot believe that.
Believe it.
You're unbelievable.
America's favorite show is back for another season. Antiques Roadshow.